Hey everybody, David here, and today I want to talk about the Elseworlds episode of the Arrowverse crossover that's going to be happening this season. Sometime this week we had a poster drop that showed Stephen Amell in the Flash costume and Grant Gustin in the Arrow costume, and everybody is like, what the heck is going on in this crossover? Not only that, but we got to see a glimpse. Stephen Amell posted a picture of himself and Grant Gustin beside Tyler Hoechlin's Superman, not in his red and blue suit, but in fact he's in an all-out black suit. So we're going to see the black-suited Superman, something that the Justice League movie should have showed us, but that's fine. The Arrowverse kicks ass when it comes to adapting stories from, or giving us little Easter eggs from the comics, more than the DC movies nowadays. I'm gonna say this crossover is intriguing me a lot. The crossovers always intrigue me, but this one more than usual, because even I'm like wondering, what the heck are they doing with this episode, and how is it going to tie into all the shows that we've seen? And thankfully, I have seen all the premieres right now of Arrow, Flash, and Supergirl. I've talked about Flash briefly on my Saturday morning TV podcast that I'm doing, where you can watch it. It's going to be crappy quality video, but hopefully the sound will sound more or less what you're hearing right now, where I'm going to review all the shows, including Marvel shows. So if you're a huge superhero TV fan, check that out on Saturday mornings. I'll be giving my reviews on Flash and Supergirl and Black Lightning and Arrow this week. And I gotta say, this crossover, I'm trying to figure out how it's going to tie into everything that we're seeing so far, because so far it doesn't make absolutely no sense at all. We know this is where Batwoman is going to be introduced, but I have a theory about this crossover that some people are already theorizing about, and I had this theory myself as well. The more I keep hearing about it, I have a feeling this crossover is going to be a one-off episode. Meaning that I don't think it's going to directly interfere with the storylines that we're seeing already this season. I think, because let's talk about this here. The crossover events usually happen on the 8th episodes of Flash and Arrow. And last year was Supergirl as well. But I think the Invasion crossover happened on the 7th episode of Supergirl and Legends. But last year it happened on all of the shows, the 8th episode. Legends isn't going to be part of the crossover this year. Apparently they're going to have their own little fun crossover going on with themselves. That sounds kind of emo, like the kid in the corner, like, I'm playing with myself because no one wants to play with me. So I love Legends, so I can't wait to see what they're doing. But this crossover sounds like it's going to be their own little thing. Like, it's not going to be in continuity with the rest of the stuff that's been going on. I think this is going to be a one-off episode, and it's going to allow the writers, I think, on the shows, those separate shows, Supergirl, Arrow, and Flash, to whatever story they're trying to tell this season, to not let a crossover interfere. Because I did feel on some years on some of these shows that sometimes the crossover does interfere with the larger narrative of what these shows are trying to tell, the stories that they want to tell. And I think this is a way for them to see if they take the crossover out of the equation of the overall narrative, will that interfere with the stories that they're trying to do? And if it doesn't, like if the seasons still come out lukewarm for fans, then okay, the crossover is not the problem. But if it does work, if these seasons, which so far the premiere episodes have been really great for all of them, I think. I've been pleasantly surprised with Supergirl. Arrow was awesome this week, and Flash was awesome last week. I didn't see the most recent episode, but I will check it out. And if that does work, yeah, they'll see that, hey, maybe if we make these crossovers as like maybe once in a while we'll make them fit into continuity, but let's say some of us have a plan, we want to take out one of the shows and not let that interfere with the overall crossover. Maybe this is a way we could do it by having the crossovers stand on their own rather than be part of the overall story. Because I felt like last season, for an example, when Arrow had Oliver out of the costume and Diggle was the Green Arrow that season, I have a feeling they wanted that to go on longer. But because they knew a crossover was coming, they had to put that to an end shorter than they wanted to. And like this, if you have this Elseworlds crossover be separate from the overall continuity, that will allow the writers to have Oliver in prison this season longer that way. So I do think this is an interesting approach. If that's true, it will allow the writers a little bit more freedom, because I do think they feel handcuffed with the crossover sometimes. It's like, oh, we got a crossover coming up. That means we need Oliver back in costume by this episode. I think if the Elseworlds episode is what is to be believed, maybe this is going to be a world where Superman and Supergirl exist with Arrow and the Flash, and maybe the Legends don't exist in this universe. Maybe they do. Who knows? I think that would be interesting, and I'd be up for something like that if that's what they are going to do. Maybe this is a world where Superman is evil. Maybe that's why he's wearing the black suit. I don't know. Lois Lane is going to be in this episode also. It's going to be interesting to see what they come up with. And the crossovers, I think, are some of their highest rated episodes each season. And I think that's because it brings in all the fans from all the different shows together for one mega crossover. And it's an event. It's something that all the fans from each of those shows celebrate. If you're a fan of all of them, you're getting an extra plus. And I think also if they do the Elseworlds crossovers that way as a one-off, I think that will allow people who don't watch any of the shows, but they like DC Comics, maybe this is a way for them to come into something and watch it without having to worry about all the continuity that they've missed throughout the years. So I don't know. This is just a suggestion, and I want to see what other fans out there think. If you are a fan of the Arrowverse, tell me your thoughts. Would you mind this crossover being a one-off and have nothing to do with what's going on in the show? Or do you think that they should stick to continuity and allow and try to figure out a way to have all this make sense in a perfect world, which is not so perfect, because it will be interesting to see what happens. The only other suggestion I could think of this Arrow and Flash swapping powers is that and Tyler Hoechlin now in a black Superman suit. The only thing I can think of, and we don't even know Batwoman's role in all this, the only thing I can think of is that Mxyzptlk, someone like him, is causing all this trouble. That is the only thing, the only suggestion that I can think of, because we don't even know who the villain is right now. We know Nora Freeze, Mr. Freeze's wife, is somehow involved in all this, so I don't know. I'm excited as usual, so I'm easily pleased with these DC TV shows. So I'm curious to see what they're going to cook up. So with that being said, guys, leave down your thoughts below and tell me what you think is going to happen with this year's crossover. Do you think this could be a one-off? Please like and subscribe, and check out my podcast on my video podcast on Saturdays, where I do review all the DC, and if there are Marvel shows to review, I'm going to try to review those ones too. Daredevil is coming out this weekend, so we'll see if I can watch a couple of episodes and maybe give a quick thoughts on Daredevil Season 3, but that will for sure be the following week. So until then, everybody, take care.